subject matter that is important. You remember these 6 subject matters and know how to explain them. That was Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Jneyam, and then Prakriti and Purus. So it was the Kshetra is the body, the field of activities with 24 elements, and then you have the Kshetrajna. There are 2 Kshetrajnas. There is one who knows the body, and there is a second knower who knows also the body, but also all other bodies. And that who is super conscious. That's the super soul. Who is the super soul? Jneyam. It's object of knowledge, because that's to be known by everyone. That in everything is a super soul, all pervading. That's why it's called like that in the Bhagavad Gita. That the super soul is the parameter, the overseer. That it has its hands everywhere, its arms everywhere. Yes. So Krishna is far away and close by at the same time. He's far away in the spiritual world, but he's in every atom. That's the all-pervasive nature of the super soul. Then Jnanam, knowledge Jnana is described. 21 items we discussed. 2 very important, the most important, accepting a Bodhisattva spiritual master, and who then engage you in devotional service. Because why are these the most important? Because all the other items of Jnana develop from that the evil of birth and death we start to understand by studying the Bhagavatam and so on. Just by hearing from the spiritual master about the fertility of material life. So, and then we have discussed Prakriti and Purus. Purus, that's us, we are the so-called enjoyers in this material world. We want to enjoy, that's the mistake we make. And that's why we are here. And we try to enjoy Prakriti. But Prakriti is not cooperating. No, it's not cooperating because it consists of 3 modes of material nature. And in this chapter now, chapter 14, you get a deeper understanding of the modes of material nature. What are these modes of material nature? How are they conditioning us? How are they binding us? How can we get out of the influence of these modes? That's all discussed in chapter 14. So we will start reading the first 14. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param Puya Pavakshami Jnanam Uttamam Khat Mune Sarve Pram Sitim Ito Katha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained supreme perfection." Interesting, and that's one point of your essays. Explain the difference between mental speculation and philosophical speculation. And that's explained. That Srila Prabhupada in the purport of 14.1 brings that up. If one understands this chapter to the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. One can say, oh, I thought we cannot speculate in Krishna consciousness, and here Prabhupada says that we have to that we have to engage in philosophical speculation. So therefore we must understand what's the difference between mental speculation and philosophical speculation. Mental speculation was already explained, I think, in 255 or 266, within the purport. 256. The word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. That's mental speculation. You never come to a conclusion. That because it's just, how can you understand something spiritual with a material brain, with something material? It's not possible.
Is the Muni speculation based on Shastra?
No.
No. It's Muni or Munir?
Muni.
Muni.
That's here's Muni in the purport. Yeah. That's Munir maybe in the context of a sentence in Sanskrit with the conjugaison en français. I can't say in English, but how to
change a little bit the
according to the subject or the object of male or female, it changes. The last part, the suffix or prefix changes. In French it's also like that. In French it's like Sanskrit, it's Spanish less, but French is very based on Latin, and Latin is close to Sanskrit. It's interesting. Muni means one can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. That's what the scientists do. That's their speculations. But their theories changing theories. So it's always now they have the God particle and this and that, and their theories change. But that's not science. That's science fiction. Science does not change. Real science is here explained in Bhagavad Gita. So instead of trying through one's own mental capacity, trying to construct something, which is mental speculation, one should use one's capacity for logic to prove how the scriptures are true. And that's philosophical speculation. And so, therefore, we will see in this chapter, we must reflect about what's going on this world. What's the mode of passion? What's the mode of ignorance? A devotee immediately he sees passion and ignorance, and an alarm bell is going. Oh, stay far away from that. Only activities in goodness. But to understand that, one must use one's intelligence. If one does not know how it binds and so on, the modes, then one is not afraid for Maya. And that was what Srila Prabhupada said. That's the problem with my Western disciples. They are not afraid enough for Maya. So, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead explains the modes of nature, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. 3 things we must know. how they act, how can we recognize them, how do they bind us, and how can they give liberation. So, thus it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. So, good to know this chapter, right? Text 2. Idam jnanam pasritya namasa dharmyam agata sargepi no pajayante pralayena vyatantite. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Just established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So, by knowing these modes, one will understand, just at the end of that chapter, how to transcend them and get out of it. Philosophical speculation, I want to come back to that. That's important. When you write an essay, don't just quote the scriptures. Show that you use your intelligence to understand them, how to practice them, how to bring this in practice in your daily life. You show that you use your intelligence, your logic to, because, that's important. Okay. So by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to transcendental nature like my own. It is established, one is not born at the time of creation and or disturbed at the time of dissolution. After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, coming free from the repetition of birth and death. So even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes is called transcendental knowledge. That's interesting. You have knowledge contaminated by the three modes. Knowledge how to enjoy in this world. Knowledge how to use your intelligence to exploit others. That knowledge you can get at the universities. You go for a master's in business administration. You can become master in such knowledge, how to exploit others in a very expert way. Yes. That's just as there is material variegatedness in this world, in the spiritual world is also variegatedness. So you have these three modes. There's a variety. There is also variety in the spiritual world, but no passion and ignorance. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. That's interesting. You cannot understand this chapter, so if you are not really developing all spiritual qualities, that one who is completely in the mode of mode of passion or ignorance cannot understand goodness. What goodness means. That theoretically, yes. One who thus develops the spiritual qualities is not affected either by the creation or by the destruction of the material world, because it's due to our association with material nature that we become conditioned. But if you escape, if you get out of the contact of material nature, not influenced anymore, then we are not disturbed by these modes. these modes cannot touch us anymore. That text 3. Mama juni mad brahma tasmin garbam dadamyam sambhava sarvabhutanam tatabhavati bhavanam. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living entities. Everything that takes place is due to a combination of kshetra and kshetra, the body and the spirit soul. The combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by God Himself. So that's the meaning of this verse. That immaterial nature, the superior nature, is mixed by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore all living entities are born in this material nature. In the Bible it's explained how the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu creates by glancing on material nature, and he places in material nature the three modes of material nature unmanifested, injects time, and then injects the living entities. It's all a combination of living entities and material nature. It's like it appears like we are born from material nature, but we are not born. The body is created and born. The scorpion lays its eggs in the piles of rice. Sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice, but the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Thus, the living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body, created by this material nature, so that the living entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. And then we have this verse, key memorization verse. Sarva yoni sikantya murtya samavantya tasam brahmatyoni ambicha pratapita. It should be understood that all species of life are made possible by birth in this material world, in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. So, you have the mother, that's Prakriti, material nature, and you have the father, it's Krishna. He injects the souls. The purpose is that the material world is impregnated with living entities, who come out of various forms at the time of creation, according to their past deeds. And then we hear about the modes of material nature. Sattvam rajas tama iti guna prakriti sambhavam nibatnanti mahabharo deideinam apyam. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, it becomes conditioned by these modes. You have these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And they condition us, all three, in different ways. We will learn how we are conditioned by ignorance, how we are conditioned by passion, and how we are conditioned by goodness. Because living entities have different kinds of body in terms of different aspects of nature, they are induced to act according to that nature. That is the cause of the varieties of happiness and distress. So what someone in the mode of goodness likes, those in the mode of ignorance, they find that disgusting. That's not. And vice versa. Those one in the mode of goodness, he avoids this ignorance. But everyone think my mode is the best. But nobody in this world is in a pure mode. That is always mixed. We have some goodness and tinge of goodness maybe. Yeah. A lot of passion mostly, and also some ignorance. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena bhatnati jnana sangena sanaga. So Lord Krishna starts with explaining the characteristics of the mode of goodness. O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others, is illuminating. It frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So it frees one from sinful reactions. That's good. And we become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. That's a devotee. He changes. He tries to change his modes and become situated in goodness. The life of a devotee is situated in goodness. Getting up early, taking a bath, chant Krishna's holy names, that be peaceful, not disturbed, not going in passion. Always endeavor to continue, but doing your work without anxiety. What is done, that we do it as best as can, and so efficient as possible, but not in a haste. Yes. So, living entities conditioned by material nature are of various types. One is happy, another is very active, and another is helpless. So, one is very active. Who is very active? Passion. And who is helpless? Tamas, ignorance. And who is happy? Who is happy? Sattva. Srila Prabhupada asked this question once to devotees. Who wants to be happy? The devotees were thinking and were unsure. Maybe that's a tricky question. Nobody answered. Srila Prabhupada asked again, who wants to be happy? Finally, one devotee hesitatingly puts his hand and said, Prabhupada, I want to be happy. And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, one normal person. But, the effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. So one gets more intelligence and becomes wise. But the danger is that, yes, one thinks, oh, I'm the best. I'm the most wise. I'm better than the others. And it is that attachment that one conditions to the mode of goodness. That I'm a Brahman, I'm better than all these Sudras. The effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. A man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement of material knowledge. If you have a peaceful life and you are more clean in everything what you do, cleanliness is important. That cleansing mind we chant, cleanliness internally we drink enough water. That yes, that we must. That cleanliness externally we take a bath 2-3 days a day, 3 times a day to clean, and that avoids disease and one. It is also food in goodness, of course. So, if you must write a summary about your understanding of the modes, I just tell you it's not only chapter 14. It continues at the end of 17 and 18, the 3 modes, the explanation. It's not only this chapter, because later also the food, the kind of food that you eat and so on, we will see. It's also important. The sense of happiness is due to understanding that in a mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reactions. Yes. Because what's the problem with committing sins? Committing sins means this is for my enjoyment. I want to enjoy and enjoy. And then after that one will suffer. But one wants to enjoy, that's a mode of passion. And ignorance is madness, gross simple activities. Taking intoxication, that illicit sex and all these things. Actually, in the Vedic literature it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and greater sense of happiness. But unfortunately nobody is in the pure mode of goodness. Yes?
But even if you're in a mood of goodness, if you don't have a Krishna consciousness, you also make some violence.
Yeah, sure.
So
you still are conditioned.
You're still conditioned. And what happened after that? This is some karma again. You gain some karma, and after that you have to suffer maybe for that.
That's explained all the results of the mode of being engaged in the mode. That's an important part of this chapter. What will be the results will be explained. The difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in a mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he's advanced in knowledge and is better than the others. Yes. In this way, he becomes conditioned. The best example are scientists and philosophers. That each is very proud of his knowledge, and because they generally improve their conditions of living condition, they feel a sort of material happiness. It's not a great bliss you feel. So as long as they have no attraction for working in that way, as long as they have an attraction for working in that way, they have to take some type of body in the modes of nature. So you have bodies in goodness, bodies for those in passion, bodies for those in ignorance. My friends here, bodies in ignorance. But due to the illusion of the material energy, one thinks that sort of life is pleasant. eating flies as a plant, pleasant. Anyway, that's next is a mode of passion. Ratcharagat makam vidi Krishna Sankha Samudbhavam Dan Nipat Natni Kantya Karma Sanghena Dinam. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because this is the embodied living being, this is the embodied living entity, is bound to material fruitive actions. So that's really the mood of this planet, the earthly planet. It's dominantly in the mode of passion. Everyone is in the mode of passion. That's trying to enjoy to the greatest extent. You go into the street, you ask people, what's the goal of life? Well, they will say, most will say, to enjoy. Enjoy, you live only once. But that's mental speculation. You live only once. How can they prove that? How do they explain the suffering in their lives? Why is someone suffering and someone else not? All that's if they can't explain, they say they blame God. But I'm a good person. Mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between men and women, and that's how it works. That binds us to material nature, this attraction. That when we become a slave of this body, trying to get pleasure out of this body which we are not, it's a great insanity. And when the mode of passion is increased, one develops hankering for material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy sense gratification. For sense gratification, a man in the mode of passion wants some honor in society. Honor in society. I want to be respected. I want to be recognized. That's the mode of passion. That is mental sense gratification. Yes, getting honor. I'm such a good person. And he wants to have a happy family with nice children, wife, and a house. Happy family, nice children, wife, and a house. That's a good idea. Because happy families, I've never seen one. There's always some trouble in the family. It doesn't happen. And nice children, mostly they do the opposite from what you expect. That's the reality. Nice children, a wife and a house. These are the products of the mode of passion. As long as one is hankering for these things, he has to work very hard. And it's true. That's very hard working. Working for some temporary enjoyment. This is Krishna has said in the second chapter. One who lives only for the pleasure of the senses lives in vain, for nothing. It's just for the body, and the body is soon gone. For nothing. The whole material world is more or less in the mode of passion. So, that's we find everywhere in the material world. And now the mode of ignorance. Tamast Pakhyana Chamvidi Mohanam Sarvadenam Pramadalasya Nitrabis Tanibatnati Bharata. The son of Bharat, Know that the mode of darkness born of ignorance is a delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Madness, indolence, and sleep. If one sleeps too much, one is in a mode of ignorance. The mode of ignorance is just the opposite of the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness means sleeping 6 hours out of 24 maximum. That's the mode of goodness. Getting early up. I Guru Maharaj used to instruct all the disciples. You should get up before 4 o'clock. All my God brothers put their alarm 5 for 4 in the morning. Before 4 o'clock. Instruction of the Guru. So, yeah. Everyone under the spell of the mode of ignorance becomes mad. And a madman cannot understand what is what. Instead of making advancement, one becomes degraded. So in the mode of passion and ignorance, you cannot really understand that you are not the body. One in the mode of ignorance thinks this is nonsense, we are the body. One in the mode of passion he thinks, yes, maybe it's true, but yeah. But no deep understanding, because without the body how can I enjoy? And there is no enjoyment in the mode of passion things. Cannot really understand it. Therefore in the beginning we read Bhagavad Gita and we think we understand something, but then by devotional practice we come gradually closer to the mode of goodness and we read it again and oh, that's like another book. One understands more things, and the more you rise in the modes, the more you understand yeah. Under the spell of ignorance, one cannot understand a thing as it is. So one cannot understand a thing as it is. For example, everyone can see that his grandfather has died and therefore he will also die. Man is mortal. The children that he conceives will also die. So that is sure. Still, people are madly accumulating money and working very hard and all day and night, not caring for the eternal spirit. That's a very important point. They are very reluctant to make advancement in spiritual understanding. Such people are very lazy. When they are invited to associate for spiritual understanding, they are not much interested. You see that many times. People come to the lecture, come to the temple. That kirtan they like, but the lecture they go all out, and they come in again for the prasad. or if they listen, their attention is somewhere else in their phone or whatever. That's the influence of the mode of ignorance. I'm not saying that they are in pure ignorance, but ignorance is a factor there. That not understanding that yes, we should, when we hear Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we should be very, very concentrated, because our spiritual life depends on it. It's a very important thing. So that's another symptom of one embedded in the mode of ignorance, that he sleeps more than required. 6 hours is sufficient. But the man in the mode of ignorance sleeps 10 to 12 hours a day. That's the mode of ignorance. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. So half of the time sleeping and the other half taking intoxicants. So that's the mode of it. Yeah. Most people are like that. They get up in the morning and the first thing they hear the news, filling their mind with all garbage.
With coffee.
And then they drink coffee, intoxication.
To wake up.
So that's the mode of ignorance. Sattvansake janjayati raja karmani bharata jnana vidyatu tama pramade sanyayatyuta. The son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions ones to happiness. The mode of passion conditions ones to furtive action, and ignorance covers one's knowledge, binds one to madness. That's a good possible question for your exam. Explain how the three modes are, the respective three modes are binding. So, goodness means a sense of good happiness. Furtive action means, passion means it binds one because it forces one to work for sense gratification. It's furtive action. And ignorance, that's madness. Yeah. Good. Now, the Krishna explains, says, gives a general comment about these three modes. To start with here. Rajas tamasa vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamashiva tamas sattvam rajas tata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance. Personal Bharat. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. At the other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So, everywhere are these modes in this material world. Because our body is made of these three modes. It's a product of the three modes. Our brain, even our subtle body is made of the three modes. That's what is produced. So what can we expect? With our brain understanding something transcendental, we can only understand it theoretically. But real understanding with the brain of something transcendental will not happen. Therefore it's understood to the heart, to the soul. Krishna says, Tantam Bhagavad Gita, Tatami Buddhyogantam. Krishna reveals to the heart. So that's important to understand that point. So these three modes, they always fight with each other. Sometimes I want to enjoy, but I want to sleep also. And it's fighting within the mode of goodness, yes. Shall I go to the temple, or shall I go to the Govindas? It's not so bad. These are good alternatives. And we may be guided by the modes, but that's a sign of intelligence, a beginning intelligence. But the options may be less transcendental. Yes. But if one wants, he can develop by practice the mode of goodness and thus defeat the modes of ignorance and passion. And by transcending the mode of goodness, it can be situated in pure goodness, which is called the Vasudeva state. In that state, one can understand the science of God. By the manifestation of particular activities, it can be understood in what mode of good nature is one is situated. So that's important that we learn. By someone's activities, you can see in what mode he is. You see, if he's always speaking about enjoyment, you know the mode of passion. If he proposes you, oh, let's drink some vodka, you understand the mode is ignorance. But it is explained also how it is binding, how it causes suffering, how it influences your next body that you are going to get. So you just by studying someone's modes, you can predict his future, because you know what the results are. So you become you get the ability to see the future of someone. But no need to be too straightforward for it when you meet people. Because they will not be able to understand. If they don't understand this knowledge. But this knowledge you can test to the practice in your life. You will see that it's true, all these points. That people in the mode of ignorance, their likings are different than those in the mode of passion. So that's a construction of false ego. A false ego in passion and ignorance, false ego in passion and ignorance. It's all different kinds of false ego. And those who are engaged in this mode thinks my mode is the best. Because my likings, what I like and I dislike, that's the best. And that's me. Dislikes and dislikes are related to these modes. And therefore recognizing them, it's important. Savatvaresu desmin prakasha upajayate Jnanam yada tada vidya vivitam sattvan ityuta. A manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. The mode of goodness, then you start to see things as they are. You start to understand, I'm not a body. That's really the mode of goodness. And one becomes interested in spiritual life. Although, if this goodness is mixed with too much of passion, well, the so-called spiritual life will have material goals. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Only pure goodness means understanding that activity of the soul is unalloyed devotional service. But therefore, a devotee organizes his life that he comes to the mode of goodness. And his concerns how to change my modes that I come to the mode of goodness. How to change these modes. In the Uddhava Gita is 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, from chapter 7 till 29 or something. Yeah, it's a big section of the 11th canto. Krishna is instructing Uddhava, because Uddhava found out that Krishna is going to end his pastimes. And he went to Krishna and he said, please take me with you to the spiritual world. Krishna says, yes, but not immediately. I've still some service for you. Please go to the sages in Badarikashram, because they wanted, the sage of Badarika, they wanted to see me, but I have to wind up my pastimes. So you take sannyas and you go, you bring this message to them that I will give you. And this message is the Uddhav Gita. Uddhav Gita is like a second Bhagavad Gita, but gives most emphasis and details Bhagavad Gita. And there Krishna speaks also on the three modes, to Uddhav. And he gives him 10 ways how one can change the modes, one's modes. It depends on the scripture you study. We should study scriptures in Sattva Gun, the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are not interested in the Karma Kanda section, that's passion. Anyway, eat in a certain way. Eat food in the mode of goodness, especially prasad. Drinking choices, what you drink. We don't take intoxication, no coffee, tea, not things with too much sugar, that's like alcohol. That's the mode of passion. How to change your modes? By the association. Associate with those who are living in goodness, the devotees. Your environment. Live in, make sure where you live it's very clean. The best environment is to live in the temple. The times of the day you do things, the activities you perform. We get spiritual practice, especially in the early morning. During the night, we go early to bed. Evening, the night is a mode of ignorance. As the day progresses, the passion comes in. Goodness is in the morning. Meditate in different ways. We meditate on Krishna. Those in the mode of passion meditate on sense gratification. Those in the mode of passion, they meditate on, 8. The mantras you chant. So, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. The samskaras you perform. We don't do jahyas for getting wealth. No jahyas, no Ganesh puja. Samskaras you perform. And you can also change your modes by taking birth again as a Brahman. Anyway, that's also a way to change modes. So this is golden advice here. This is from the Uddhav Gita. That so Tusta Krishna Prabhu wanted to know. He wanted to know Tusta Krishna Prabhu how the Bhagavatam relates to the Bhagavad Gita. Here you have another proof. That's going very much together. So 8:30, I will stop here and I will continue this afternoon. but we have 2 minutes for questions. Good. Yes?
The last one is birth. Taking birth in the family of devotees.
Yeah, you can also go to lower modes. You never know. Take a lower birth. Right, they are still in the temple. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.